Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review for Underwater by Marisa Reichardt. Okay, so this is the book that I read and I got a few requests to do a review for it, so I figured I would do that. I did ask if you guys wanted to see it, so no harm, no foul. This book, like I said, is called Underwater and it's by Marisa Reichardt. I think that I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, but I'm not 100% sure. This is her debut novel. The cover simply states, "Sometimes the safest place to be is underwater." Now, this book deals with a lot of different things. The first thing that I want to talk about is the general premise of the book and what it's exactly about. So this book is about a girl named Morgan, and she suffers from severe anxiety, mostly based upon the fear of being outside. She doesn't really suffer from social anxiety. It's more of a PTSD type of anxiety. So she doesn't like to go outside. She hasn't been outside in like over 6 months. She's just not interested in being out there. She's too scared to go out there. And there's a reason why she's scared to go out into the world, which I don't want to talk about because I don't want to give it away. Although it is pretty easy to figure out exactly what it is that has caused her to become this way. It kind of hints about it a lot in the book, so it's not really that hard to figure out, but I really don't want to tell you guys that and ruin it for you just in case you're planning on reading this book. So like I said, she's suffering from anxiety. She is pretty much stuck in this apartment with her little brother and her mother who works, and her little brother goes to school, so she's at home by herself all day and she has to fill her time with different things, and she does online schooling instead of going to classes because she can't bring herself to set foot in a school. So she does online classes with minimal, interactions with people in the outside world. So what happens then is this boy moves in to the apartment next door to hers, and his name is Evan, and he comes over and they meet, and she starts to kind of develop a friendship with him, and she really wants to get to know him better. So their relationship kind of evolves over time. She finds it really difficult to open up to him, just as she does with anyone else. She does have a therapist that she sees once a week, and they discuss things, although the story will tell you she doesn't tell her therapist everything. So her therapist doesn't really know the entire reasons why she suffers from anxiety like she does. So that is pretty much the premise of the book. It just follows her steps in dealing with the anxiety and the post-traumatic stress of what she's been through. And it's a really good insight into anxiety and PTSD, I think. It is a good example of what someone would experience. Not everyone, but it's a good example generally for someone who's suffering from this. And I found it to be very fascinating because I love psychology and I'm really fascinated by those types of things. So I love reading fiction and nonfiction books about psychological things. I think they're very fascinating. As for the writing style in this book, I found it to be very minimalistic. It's not written in a way where you wouldn't understand the writer. It's very easy to understand what's going on. It's very easy to follow along with the character and what she's dealing with. I think that the writer did a very good job of explaining exactly what Morgan was going through and what she was experiencing in a way that people that don't suffer from anxiety and PTSD could understand. A lot of people, if you don't suffer from things like that, it's difficult to understand exactly what the person goes through when they have these, panic attacks and things like that. So I think that when these situations occur in the book, it's written in a way that is really easy to understand, and people that don't usually relate to something like that will probably find it enlightening and will most likely enjoy it because it's not written at a level where they're not going to be able to understand exactly what's going on. I don't know if any of that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So the book itself is fairly short. It's about 250 pages long, give or take, and it was very easy to get through. I thought that the writing was written in a way that it was pretty fast-paced. I didn't have trouble getting through it. There were no slow spots for me. I pretty much flew through this book in a couple of days, reading about, 60 to 75 pages every time I read it because I didn't want to put it down. So it was a pretty quick read, but definitely an excellent one. I I found that the characters were very relatable. At least the main character was relatable for me because I suffer from anxiety. I don't have PTSD, but I do have really bad anxiety, mostly social anxiety. So this book was really good for me. I thought it was really good to see her evolving and figuring out situations and trying to get better. I thought that that was really good. So that's probably why I enjoyed this book as much as I did. I don't know if people who aren't interested in mental illness will like this book as much, but that's just my opinion. I really liked it. I thought it was great. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, as you guys probably already know. I think I mentioned that. And for this being the author's debut novel, I think she did a really, really good job. There are some side characters, I guess you could call them, in this story that I really connected with, like her therapist. I thought played a vital role in this book, and I really liked her character. She was pretty badass and awesome for a psychiatrist or psychologist, whichever one she was, I can't remember. But her character was very, very likable. I really enjoyed reading about her. She was pretty cool. I liked her a lot. So the characters in this story were really great. I really liked the male character. He wasn't as relatable of a character to me, but I liked how compassionate he was. He didn't show her sympathy, which I thought was great. In my opinion, people with mental illness don't want them to pity them or, you know, look at them like they're feeling sorry for them. So the fact that Evan didn't do that was uplifting, and it made me like him even more. So that's pretty much all I've got to say about this book. If you're thinking that this book deals only with anxiety, you're wrong. It deals with a lot more than just anxiety. Now, I bought it thinking that it was a book solely focused around anxiety. I didn't know that it was based around anxiety that was brought on by PTSD. I thought that it was just social anxiety because the synopsis of the book basically says that she can't move beyond her front door of her apartment that she shares with her brother and her mother. So I automatically thought that it was going to be about agoraphobia or something to that effect, which it's not. I still think that it's great, you know, for what it is. I think that the synopsis, well, for me, it was a little bit misleading, but I still really, really enjoy this book. I definitely recommend it. If you're into psychological books, books that deal with mental illness, this is definitely one that you should pick up. I think it's great for a young adult to have books like this. So, because it's not talked about as much. I mean, it is now, but it didn't used to be a topic that was mentioned a lot in books or young adult books, and I think it's great that it's now being introduced into more young adult, because this is stuff that really happens and a lot of people experience, and these types of books are great for people who are suffering from stuff like that they can relate to. So definitely recommend this book, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this review. I don't usually do reviews on my channel because generally I suck at them. I think I've only done one review and I've had this channel for over a year, so hopefully this review was done well enough. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you got something out of it and that you're interested in picking up the book, because I highly recommend it. So that's gonna be it for this video, you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you've read this book and what your thoughts were, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. My dog's drinking water. Hi. And she really wants to get him to get boobs. I can't think of what I'm trying to say. What was I talking about?